Rock Point. We are so excited to be here with you. I'm Adina.
And I'm Mario. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for joining us online, wherever you're at. And with that said, please let us know where you're joining us. Man, we've heard from people out in the hot tub, out on the boat, wherever you're at. Check in. Let us know where you're at. Let us, again, just share where you're at.
Say good morning. Engage in the message as you're going along. So, hey, how was your weekend?
4th of July last week, right?
July.
Last week was good. We still have people popping fireworks.
Yeah, so my youngest is still afraid of fireworks. She's 7, so we don't ever do like the big fireworks show.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, this will be great. We'll just stay at home. It'll be low key. But
you still have people.
We have everyone popping all these crazy fireworks. I feel like our neighborhood put on like its own private show. So I think next time we would have been better off going.
Yeah,
to see
and
a show.
again, trying to get our dogs under control, or one of them.
Yeah, well,
he flips out. It's annoying.
I drugged my dogs. I gave them all Benadryl.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was a great
You can do
thing.
that to your kids, too.
Well, I'm not.
Just kidding.
That's a good idea.
Totally kidding. Just kidding. So, yeah, if you're a first-time guest and you're watching this for the very first time, we have a number that we want you to text. Text the word welcome to
512-710-2323.
That's right. And we'll send you a free cup of coffee.
That's right. We just want to say thank you for spending your morning with us, spending a little bit of time with us.
And let us know how you found us. Let us know where you checked us out from and how you heard about us.
Oh, yeah. Right. So I also heard that there's a Whataburger opening up in your neighborhood.
My house, yeah. There's Whataburger opened up a mile away from a mile away from my house, from the front door all the way. It's 1 mile.
That's all he's talked about. In my house, we're talking about all the kids going back to school.
Yeah.
And in your house, it's Whataburger.
Whataburger, because my kids and my wife works at one of the schools, so she's going back to the school. My kids are going back to school. So, yeah.
I am fired up about my kids going back to school.
There you go. I think a lot of parents are.
I'm at the point in the summer where I'm like, it's all just downhill.
Yeah,
We've done everything we can do. I got nothing else I can do.
That's
like,
right.
It's time. Go back to school.
Send them back, yeah.
Yes. Well, my husband is a teacher as well. So we have like the opposite. He's like, no, let's stretch out summer a little bit longer.
You're ready just to say
and
no,
I'm like,
stop.
Get back to school.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're in week 3 of Own It. And I know I've been able to lead us through this. And I just got to tell you, today is a big learning point for me. We're talking about growth.
Well, if you're first time joining us, go back and listen to the last 2 messages because it all ties in so well.
Yeah. So growth, it's a tough one to listen to it's gonna challenge you. It challenged me definitely. So yeah, make sure you go back and listen, just like Adina said.
Yeah. So you know what, Mario, like he said, he's on week 3. He's got a little bit of time. We're gonna listen to the band, and you know what? No matter what you're doing at home, stand up and sing with us, or you know what? Just have fun. All right, we'll see you afterward.
Come on, y'all, get into y'all's feet with us. My life won't always go the way that I planned. There'll be some stuff that I won't understand. I'm gonna stumble every now and again, but I know when I fall, I'm falling into your hands. You're holding everything that I see. You're sobbing over all my anxiety. You give me comfort like nobody else could, and I know you're working everything for my good. Every trial, every heartache, every letdown, you're raising it up for my good. Every season, every new day, every moment, you're making a way for my good. Oh, you're making a way for my good. Sometimes it's hard to live the things I believe. Sometimes my doubts will get the best of me. These days I struggle to trust like I should. Still I know you're working everything for my good. Every trial, every heartache, every letdown, you're raising it up for my good. Every season, every new day, every moment, you're making a way for my good. Oh, you're making a way, so why would I worry? Lord, you are the great I am. I may not know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow in his hand. Why would I worry? Lord, you are the great I am. I may not know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow in his hand. Say, every trial, every heartache, every letdown, you're raising it up for my good. Every season, every new day, every moment, you're making a way. Every trial, every heartache, every letdown, you're raising it up for my good. Every season, every new day, every moment, you're making a way for my good. My good. You're making a way for my good, my good, my good. Oh, you're making a way for my good. Sometimes on this journey, I get lost in my mistakes. What looks to me like weakness is a canvas for your strength. My story isn't over, my story's just begun. Failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. Well, failure won't define me, that's what my Father says. Whoa. Lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, here in the Father's. Play it now. not the end game. The journey's where you are. You never wanted perfect, you just wanted my heart. And the story isn't over if the story isn't good. 'Cause failure's never final when the Father's in the room. Sing. Failure's never final when my Father's in the room. Hey, ooh. Lay your burdens down. Ooh. Here in the Father's house, check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh. You're in the Father's house. Prodigals come home, the helpless find hope. Love is on the move when my Father's in the room. Prison doors swing wide, the dead come to life. Love is on the move when my Father's in the room. Say, Jericho walls and shake, the cynical find faith. Love is breaking through when the Father, let's build it now, say, Jericho walls are quaking, strongholds now are shaking. Love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Sing love. Oh, love is breaking through when my Father's in the room. Sing it now. Ooh, lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house, check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house, yeah. Lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Y'all say, check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, here in the Father's house.
Yes, awesome. Hey, y'all go ahead and grab a seat. Hello, my name is John Evans, and I'm one of the pastors here on staff. Man, I can't believe that summer is like turning past the halfway done, and the year. But hopefully y'all are having a great summer. It's so great to be here right now this morning. If you're online or here in person, we're on week 3 of our Own It series, where Mario is talking to us about making the most of every situation, not excuses. And this is just a challenging one for me because I love excuses. So God's really doing a work in my life through this one. And so we've got a great day planned for all of us online and here in person. If this is your first time joining us, man, we're so glad that you're here. We're so glad that you're watching along. We'd like to connect with you and know that you are with us, and we have a real easy way for you to do that. We've got a keyword that you can text to the phone number 512-710-2323, and that just lets us know that you're with us and gives us a chance to say hello and hear about how you found out about Rock Point. So thanks so much for being with us. Also, we have a new QR code where instead of having all these QR codes, we have one with all the things that you need. So we're going to bring up that QR code for you. It's real easy. Just scan it. And we want to highlight the connection card there. Just click on the connection card once you scan that QR code and take a look at that. There's just ways for you to let us know how we can help you, how we can serve you as a church, as a staff. Also, there's a place there for prayer requests, and we pray for you every single time that you fill that out and give us that opportunity. So thanks so much for taking the time to do that. Well, hey, let me go ahead and pray for us before we move on. God, thanks so much for what you're doing through this Own It series. Lord, that help us open our mind and heart to see the opportunities in front of us and not make those excuses, but step into those knowing that you're with us. Help us trust you in that, knowing that you're working in and through those situations to lead us to you, to help heal our lives. And so this morning, God, we just open our hearts and we open our minds to what you have for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
All throughout my history, your faithfulness has walked beside me. When a storm made a way for spring, in every season from where I'm standing, I've seen the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I've seen your promises and fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. Help me remember when I'm weak. Fear may come, but fear may leave. You keep my heart to victory. Sing you out. You are my strength, and you always will. I've seen the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. Yeah, say, I see your promises and fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. Come on, we say, see the cross, the empty grave, the evidence is endless. All my sin rolled away because of you, oh Jesus. Say, see the cross, the empty grave, the evidence is endless. All my sin rolled away because of you, oh Jesus. Yeah, I've seen the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I see your promises and fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. Sing it again now, come on. I all over my life, all over my life. See your promises, and I see your promises and fulfill all over my life, all over my life. Sing, why should I fear? Oh, why should I fear? Oh, the evidence is here. Oh, why should I fear? 'Cause the evidence is here. Y'all doing all right this morning? Isn't it good to be together today? Well, hey, this song is real special to our church. We've been singing it over the past month or so. And every time we sing this song, I want you to hear something good that God's been up to, maybe in one of your lives or somewhere in our church. And so today, we got another one of those stories. It's going to be a little bit different today. But I don't know about you, it's hard to find the good in life. There's a lot of negative out there. And one of the things that God's been teaching me is I can be a vulture or a hummingbird. Y'all know what a vulture does, right? It flies around and looks for garbage and dead things, and it finds it every time. But the little hummingbird comes by, and what's it looking for? Something sweet. And that's what it finds. So it's a choice we get to make. Are we going to look for the good in life, look for what God's doing? Or are we going to look for all the dead things? Because there's plenty of stuff out there like that. But I want to let you guys hear something this morning. Even if you're watching online, I want you to check out what God's been up to in our church. So I'm going to invite my friend Michael to come up and share.
Good morning. I just wanted to share real quick some of the things that God is up to in our church, actually. And we can look around sometimes and think that things are stagnant and not really anything's going on or happening right now, but there are some exciting things going on. And so specifically right now, I wanted to talk about our kids' day camp that we just had last month in June. And honestly, it was so fun to watch all the kids out there. They had such a great time. It was a lot of fun. And we had 66 kids come to day camp. And so, yeah, it was amazing. And they were loud. It was very, very loud around here. They had lots of games, lots of fun, water balloon fights, like all the fun things. It was really fun to watch them. But there was 27 of those kids that gave their hearts to Christ and that's right. And they made Jesus the boss of their life. And so these kids know that they are on this earth for a purpose, that they are here for a reason, and that God has a plan for their life. And so that really is what it's all about. That's where we know that God is at work in our church. And so the other thing that was really cool to watch was we had quite a few young adult leaders and youth leaders, high schoolers that helped at the camp, and really to watch that God used them during that week also. And they chose to spend a week out of their summer to pour into the lives of these kids and to build relationships with these kids. It really was something to watch. And so I really am excited even to see what God's going to do in their lives as they move forward, since they've, chosen to let God use them in that way. So just look around. There are exciting things happening. There's great things happening in our church. So God is moving in our church today.
See the cross, the empty grave, the evidence is endless. All my sin rolled away because of you, oh Jesus. Somebody help us sing it. See the cross, the empty grave, the evidence is endless. All my sin rolled away because of you, oh Jesus. I've seen the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. See the promises, I see your promises and fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. Listen, why should I fear? Oh, the evidence is here. Oh, why should I fear? Oh, the evidence is. Come on, I want to hear you sing. I've seen the evidence of. All you got sing. I see your promises all over my life, all over my life. Wasn't that good? That was good. Hey, you guys can have a seat and sit back and relax.
Well, good morning. Good to see you guys. If we haven't met and this is your first time, my name is Mario, and I'm the campus pastor out at Liberty Hill, Rock Point out there. And I'm so excited to be joining you guys again this morning, week 3 of what we're calling Own It. I want to say hello to everyone online and, of course, our campus out in Liberty Hill. Thank you guys for showing up and being here. But this morning, we're going to continue into week 3. I got to get right into it. It's called Own It, how to make the most of every opportunity. And we're looking at areas in our lives where we point fingers, push the blame, and we don't want to own our part of something. And so it is a little bit of a challenge. And if you missed, everything is available online, to go back and watch it 2 weeks because everything builds on top of one another. So let's recap really quick what we've gone over, and then we're going to jump into today. So week 1, we just said, I need to take ownership of my time produces purpose. So ownership of my time produces purpose, meaning I'm going to tell my time what to do. My time's not going to tell me what to do. And when I do that, my time takes purpose. It takes on purpose, meaning this is where my time is going to go. Week 2, last week, was ownership of influence is others focused. Manipulation is me focused. And we talked about the fact that every single one of us carries influence in our lives. Please go back and listen to that, because if you're struggling in your area of work or somewhere where you're around people, you do influence people. It's vital that you understand that. So today, as we go, there's no difference. We're building this whole series on one verse. It's a key verse, or it's actually a couple of verses, and it's found in Ephesians 5 verses 15 and 16. And listen to this. It's in your notes as well. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. So we're focusing in on that one key phrase where it says making the most of our opportunities when it comes to our time, our influence. And today we're talking about growth. Today's about growth. And I got to tell you, if there's ever a week that you feel like you got to nudge someone and say, hey, he's talking to you, please don't do that. Here's what I have to tell you, though. Today, just focus on how you can take something from this. And I'm going to warn you again. Today was a kick in the gut to me when I figured out that I was looking in the mirror at the person that needed to take ownership of growth. It's not easy to hear, and I had to do it for myself. And so we're going to get started. I'm going to talk about growth. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen this, but not this specific one, right? But do you guys know what kind of pool this is? Say it louder. All right, if you're in Liberty Hill, it's what? A kiddie pool. If you're online, a kiddie pool. And so you can get these at H-E-B, at Walmart, probably about $8.99, $7.99. And really, they're for our kids, right? What do? You're outside. You don't want to dig a whole pool because that's pretty expensive. You have kids, so you get this kiddie pool, you set it up, and they go to town in there, right? But today, after church, it's interesting because if I have some friends over, my small group, and I tell them, hey guys, I'm grilling, you guys bring the sides, there's gonna be a pool, bring your bathing suit, we're gonna hang out. So my buddies come over, and I don't know how awkward it would be for them to show up and drive by my house and see me sitting in this pool, lounged, grill's going, and I'm like, hey guys, come on in. Okay, first off, that's awkward. 2, we weren't made to sit in this pool as an adult. It was made for kids, right? So it's a kiddie pool. So let's say they come by, they go, hey man, that's a little awkward, but I'm gonna go drop the sides off inside. So they go in my house and say, it's time to eat. So we have some steaks cooked, we have vegetables, we have all the sides. I come in and I go, hey guys, I'm gonna need some help because I'm gonna sit next to you and I'm gonna sit right here. I don't know if I doubt I could fit inside this thing. I'm not gonna try. But I'm gonna say, hey guys, I'm gonna sit here right next to you and I need somebody to volunteer to play choo-choo train and airplane with me because I need help eating. Like, oh, here comes the train, Mario, open up. That would be weird. If that happens at my house with me being in that chair and in this pool, you guys would go, hey, you weren't made for that. You weren't created to stay there. Because why? Because those are made for kids, not for adults. And I have to tell you this morning that that's where we're headed this morning. In our lives, I think some of us are stuck in the kiddie pool. And it's here's the disclaimer is if you're in recovery and you go, hey, I just want to get clean and it's my first week, welcome. You should be in the kiddie pool because that's your first step. But if we are believers and we're someone who's been in the church and we're still in the kiddie pool saying, hey, we don't go deep enough and I don't grow, get out of the kiddie pool. And here's the other thing I got to tell you is there's other disclaimers because here's the other thing. Hey, I'm a new believer. I love it because today's message is for you and you're welcome in the kiddie pool because it's a brand new start for you. But I got to tell you, as adults, we can start here, but we can't stay here, right? We cannot stay here. Here's the thing is you may be lost in your life. You're going to start here, but you can't stay here. The other part is maybe you're just at a loss for life and go, hey, there's just a bad hand's been dealt to me. I've gone through a divorce. Yes, you're going to start here, but here's what I got to tell you. It is so easy to stay here, but we have to get out, and we can't push the blame or point fingers at anyone else. And it's the hardest thing to hear. And I'm telling you this because I was in that boat, and I had to do the same thing. And so again, overcoming some of the things that we've gone through, we start here, but we don't stay there. And I got to tell you, when we take ownership of our growth, this is what I want you to write down. Growth happens when I take ownership of why I am here, why I'm created to be outside of the kiddie pool. Yes, we're going to start here, but when I take ownership of why I am here on this earth, we start to grow. When we forget about why we're here, then we're going to stay here, and we start to push blame. This happened, this happened. Again, you have to want to grow. And here's the next fill in the blank that is tied with this is if we understand why we're here, then in the end, listen to this, growth is a choice. Growth is a choice. Growth is a choice. And it's tough because when we're here, it is difficult to look in the mirror and say, I'm the reason that I'm not going. But I'm telling you, it's the reason I'm talking about growth is because there's freedom out here. But the enemy has you stuck here, believing that this is where you should stay. And we're going to be discussing that. So before we go further, I want to tell you that the verse that I'm going to be talking about, you may listen to it and you may go, man, that's it? That's all you're going to give us? That's where you got this whole message from? I just got to tell you, stay with me when we go there because there's some freedom on the other side of that. If you're somebody that's going, hey, I'm checking out Christianity, I don't know about it, again, the same thing. There's freedom for you. There's growth opportunity. But before we go there, I got to tell you, every week I've been talking about HEB and my life with HEB. So today's no different. I don't know if you've ever been in this place, but here's the pressure of life. One of the most impactful pressures of life. Hey, babe, I need you to go to the store. Can you go get me some makeup from here? Go get me some shampoo from here. And here's the aisle. Here's what it looks like. And I'm like, sure, I'll be right back. The pressure. You go to HEB and you here's what the conditioner looks like. It's yellow. It has some leaves on the cover. And you get to the aisle, and there's about 700 bottles with leaves that are yellow and they're different names. And I'm going, seriously? I thought this was going to be simple. And then what turned into supposed to be a 5-minute trip to HEB. You're there for 15 minutes because someone won't answer their phone because your daughter took the wife's phone and she's playing, and every time your name comes up, she ignores it. I'm like, my daughter's ignoring my phone calls already. And she's only 6, 7. But here's the thing. Talk about pressure. You're going somewhere. You know why you're there, but you don't do anything with it. What about this one? I know, don't hate me for this. Don't come talk to me about this. Don't DM me. Don't do anything with this. I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't get the whole coffee thing, but I do. This happens to me. Hey, will you go to a certain place? And I'm like, sure. Here's what I need you to do. Get this. And then she reads off, or he reads off, about 20 different things in one cup of coffee. And I'm like, how am I supposed to remember that? And then you get to the window, and they're like, hey, can I take your order? I'm like, yeah, can I get a large? Oh, we don't have large. Okay, well, what do you call it? I just want to go to a place where it's small, medium, and large, and I just want to tell you what's my order, and then I'm going, wait, does all this stuff, all these 8 different ingredients go to one thing, or is this 2 drinks? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't need to do this anymore. And I'm lost because I know why I'm going somewhere, but when I get there, sometimes I'm lost, and I'm going, I don't know what the reason for all this stuff in this coffee is. And then I'm going, I'm upset. I'm stuck. I'm going, why in the world am I here? Why am I putting myself in this situation again? Ownership says, hey, Mario, take a picture of the shampoo bottle, then go to H-E-B. Ownership says, hey, tell her to text you a list of exactly what they want when you drive to their drive up so that you can say it word for word. And honestly, when I go, this is crazy. When I go drive up for a coffee place, I said, you can yell across because I don't want to mention anything. There's so many different items that you want in a coffee cup. So anyways, that's my little rant for today. But all this to say, there's a reason why I was going. There's a reason why if you miss it, then you come back with the wrong thing. You come back with the wrong mentality. And this is what this verse is saying to us. This is our why of growth. Listen to this. It's in 2 Corinthians 5. And it says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, so if anyone's a believer, the new creation has come. So yes, you're new. You start somewhere. Now listen to this. The new is here. All this is from God who reconciled. What does reconciled mean? Restore. So listen to this. All this is from God who restores us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of restoring. That God was restoring the world to himself through Jesus, not counting people's sins against them. So he didn't count our sins against us because he sent Jesus to the cross who's going to restore the world. Now let's not stop there because he says this. And God has committed to us the message of restoring. You've just been committed to be restoring. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors as though God were making his appeal through us. Not your boss, not your wife, not your kids, through you. We implore on you, Christ's behalf. Be restored to God. God made him, Jesus, who had no sin, to be sin for you and I, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. So all of a sudden, we have this verse that says, guess what? You're an ambassador. You start here, but you're an ambassador. You know what an ambassador does? He or she goes to a land, a foreign land, to bring a message of what? Of someone who's been restored. Yes, I start here restored, but as I grow, I'm an ambassador sent where? To my job, to my home, to my group of friends, to the store, to a certain place that I go eat at all the time. It's not just staying in the church. It is going, I've been sent somewhere to what? To carry the message that God restores. I hope you understand that there's this message that you have to take because you're an ambassador. So what do we got to take ownership of today? And here it is. It's this fill in the blank. My why is the message of a God who restores. So my why, the reason I'm here, the reason you are here as a believer, is to take the message of God who restores. So let me ask you this. Who in the world, the whole world needs restoring? Every single person. So who is going to take that message to the people that need it? The believers who believe in Jesus. So why are we going to take this message? Because he's restored us. And we haven't stayed here. We started here, but we continue to grow. So are they all you're just going to go out there and go, hey, I have this church, God's into restoring, I'm an ambassador, you need to come on. They're not going to come to church with you if you say that. So what do? You don't stay in the kiddie pool, and you start to grow. And when you start to grow, your light shines. And when your light shines, people get attracted to you to go, there's something about you that's different. Yes, there is something about me that's different. Or hey, I have this thing going on in my life, I'm going through a divorce, I need someone to talk to. You seem like the person that I need to talk to. Why? Because you have started to grow. You're carrying a message of restoring because you yourself have been restored. And you're in a place of work, a place that you go, hey, how did God bring all this together? He's going to put you at the right place at the right time. And here it is. Listen, I'm just going to tell you guys really quick. So if everyone needs to hear the message of restoring, and we're those ambassadors, I have to tell you this. We're going to start with this. I'm going to be as blunt as I can. And it's this, is in your next fill in the blank. Grow where you're currently at. Just grow where you're currently at. Think about it. If I start here and I work, I don't know, if I work for Whataburger, okay? And here's the thing is I go, I'm a new believer. Everything that was old is gone. There's something made new, and I continue to grow. I'm at Whataburger going, hey, you know what? I got to continue to grow because God's asked me to carry this message of restoring. But if I don't do anything to grow, then I stay right here, and it's just me, and I'm comfortable right here, and no one can see that I am growing. We have to keep growing. And why do we keep growing? Because I carry a message of restoring. I think of David. David started David was he didn't start off beating Goliath. He started here, but guess what he was doing here? He stepped out and he was herding sheep I don't know if you know that the most boring animal on this planet are sheep. But the guy that knocked down a giant started by herding sheep. So what was he doing when he was herding sheep? He was growing. He was spending time with God. He wasn't going to a service going, this isn't deep enough. Please, can we go deeper into this? No, he's going, give me something that I can take and I can grow because it's on me so that when my time comes and I happen to be walking up in the army and there's this guy yelling at the army of God and he goes, hey, I'm in the right place at the right time and this is my moment. Why? Because I've been growing and I had to take out a lion. I had to take out a bear. And this is what God created me for. You'll know that time. But if we're stuck in the kiddie pool, we're missing out on some things that God's going, you need to grow. You're missing the opportunity, not for yourself. Why? Because I'm an ambassador carrying a message to other people. There's a reason why you're here. Mario, all I do is staple papers. Let me tell you, go find the best stapler that you can possibly find. If you go, all I do is just staple papers and I'm just going to staple papers all day. Here's what growth mentality says. I'm going to find the best stapler. I'm going to learn if the left-handed people like the left-handed staple. I'm going to learn if the right-handed people like the right-handed stapler. I'm going to see if they like the book style of stapling. I'm going to be the best stapler so that when it's time, they go, hey, where's the person that used to staple because she was so good? Well, she went on and moved on because she knew she had to keep on growing. You can take ownership in your hand and you can keep going. And let me tell you a quick story. I was 21. I can't believe I'm saying this. I was 21, had just moved back home and from a tour that I'd taken over the United States, and I needed to find a job, and I was at home, 21 years old, living at home, playing video games, and I'll never forget my soon-to-be wife had gave me an ultimatum. Are you always going to play these video games, or are you going to grow up? And I was like, well, I'm going to play video games. And it didn't work out very well. So I had to go find a job. I went and they hired me as casual labor. I don't know if that's even legal anymore. Casual labor is $6.50 an hour for 2 days, 16 hours, and then you're done. So I went and I said, hey, I just need a job. And they said, okay, hey, go put this stuff in the trash, go get our lunch. And in my mind, I'm going to do the best I can so that they can't fire me. So casual labor, finish. They go, hey, we need a seasonal employer. Hey, I can do it. I'll work for Christmas. It's going to be horrible hours. Actually, the pay's not going to be $6.25. It's going to be $5.75. And I'm like, who cares? I'll do it. I'm 21. I need a job. So went in. Seasonal time ends, and they go, hey, we need a stock person. Well, what does a stock person do? Oh, they're called a gopher. Gopher, what do you mean? Go for our lunch, go take the trash, go for this, go for that. I can do it. And I go, okay, stock person. And they said, hey, just make this room look good. So I remember, I'll never forget the day that my boss walked in, and I shoe papered this wall, which means I took all the shoes and I made it look like a wallpaper. We walked in, and she goes, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. I said, what do you mean? I said, I just put the shoes up. She goes, well, it looks great. It's never looked this good. I said, okay, well, I know where every shoe is. If you ever need a shoe, I know where every shoe is, and I can find it quick. And then a sales associate, she goes, hey, we need a sales associate. And I'm like, I don't like people, but I know where every shoe is. And she goes, okay, we'll hire you. We'll put you on the floor. She put me out on the floor. I got a raise to $6.75. But every time a person needed a shoe, guess who knew their shoe room like the back of his hand? I did. So I went quick, and I started moving. She goes, hey, you're helping a lot of people. And so she goes, hey, we need an assistant manager. I was like, I don't know what an assistant manager does, but it pay more? Yeah, hey, I'll take it. And then 2 years later, she goes, hey, we need an MIT. What is an MIT? Well, they're going to take over their own store. Hey, I don't have anything else going on. Please hire me. Let me take that position. Got a bigger raise. And then they said, hey, we're going to give you your own store. This store is really small. It's not going to do much. Hey, go take the store. I was like, hey, I'll take the store. Went and took the store. Rookie of the year, made the most income, went on free trips. And I said, hey, I took the store. They said, hey, now we need a market leader. Hey, I'll take the market. Go take the market leader. Now we need a DMIT. And here's why I'm telling you this. Casual labor sucked. $5.75, $6.25. I'm 21. Man, the world is just beating me up. I can't do anything. It's not going to hand it to you. You got to go, I'll become that stock person. I'll learn. I'll become that sales associate. I'll learn. I'll become that MIT. I'll learn. I'll become the best manager that you can. I'll learn. It's on us to go. I have to grow. Why? Because in the end, here was my mentality is I was a believer going, these students and these college students need something more to live for, and I have that message. That's the mentality we have to have. But here's the other thing. Remember our verse? Be very careful how you live. Not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. And here's what I want you to learn is our enemy, here's another fill in the blank, our enemy creeps in through complacency. One of the wisest men on the planet ever to walk was Solomon. He said, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. Before you know it, you'll get comfortable, and he's gonna make you so complacent. And what do they say about complacency? It kills. Why? Because you get so used to being here that you go, I'm afraid to step out. But your life is more than that, because what does it tell us in our verse? That Jesus went to a cross, he was made sin, but he had no sin. For what? So for you and I, in you and I taking that he went to that cross, the reason you and I can step out of this pool is because we have the same power that he went to that cross to get out and go do something in the world. And he's saying, you're an ambassador for me. Jesus didn't die on a cross for you and I to stay in the kiddie pool. And so, man, this hit me like a ton of bricks, because I'm a campus pastor, and I'm sitting here going, I need to grow. But I have this position, and here's the other thing, is we get so tempted just to do, and when you start doing things and good things, you're just focused here, and God's going, I'm asking you to grow. Grow. So if we know our why, and we know we need to take ownership of it, I thought, how in the world do we go, I need to take ownership where I'm at right now? Number one, and these are not easy, I promise you. And I'm not telling you this from the stage to go, this is what I see. This is what I went through. Anyone that knows me, if you want to hear my story, we can have lunch, not coffee. We can go have lunch somewhere, and I'll tell you why this is so important to me. Number one, stop making excuses. You know how it starts as a kid? Excuses is, hey, she did it, so I did it. Or he made me do it. And then it goes on to, well, they all went and did this, Mom. And what does she say? Well, if they jumped off a cliff, would you too? And I'm like, maybe. Do I have a parachute on? She's like, don't be that person, please, Mario. And then it goes from this. Listen, this is where complacency sets in. This is where growth stops. And it's these words. And it's tough to say these things, but this is what I said. I've always been this way. This is the way it happens because this is the way it's always been. It's not my job to do this. It's not my responsibility. That is kiddie pool mentality. We have to grow away from that. At some point, we have to stop making excuses and grow, and I have to stop going, hey, I'm not a reader. I don't like reading. Well, how are you going to grow? Well, I don't like watching videos. I don't like reading books. I don't like listening to books. At some point, you have to start doing new things because complacency says, I don't like. And excuses will always lead us to the same place. And in recovery, you can't stay there. I love recovery because recovery has steps to get you out of that. And in the end, what's the end goal of recovery? To go share your story again with someone who's stuck there. You have to get out there. We have to stop making excuses, because once we stop making excuses, what do we do next? Number two is this. This is Captain Obvious right here. Choose to grow. Just choose to grow. What does that mean? Is no one else is going to do this for you. I can recommend some great podcasts, some great books. I can recommend that you go download the Bible app, but I can't go open it for you and say, hey, here comes the spoon, open up. We can't do that. That wasn't why we were made. We were made to be ambassadors. And our verse says, making the most of every opportunity. And I read an interesting quote this week. And then again, it hit me like a ton of bricks from Thomas Edison. It says this: opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. And it's going to take hard work sometimes. I had my daughter, she's 11, 12. This week, I just texted her and said, hey, I want you to write down 3 things that you want to do before the end of summer. And she wrote them down. She made them all look pretty. And then I said, okay, well, now today, you got to take a step and try to get one of those things done. And then she goes, okay, I'll do this. And then she went to the next thing and the next thing. But then sometimes she goes, I don't want to do that. It's just too hard. I'm like, okay, here's the opportunity for you to grow. And complacency's right here saying, just sit. You have to remember that it's going to take tough. It's going to be tough sometimes. It's going to take some hard work. And I think through this, if you go, hey, Mario, what would you recommend right now to choose to grow? I just made a list. You can listen to a podcast. You can listen to books. You can read a book. You can download Audible. You can journal. You can draw. You can watch documentaries. You can research. You can do experiments. You can bake. You can cook. You can grill. You can sing. You can play. You can get the Bible app again. You can start your own devotional. But I can't do that for you. I can't. because I'm an ambassador where I stay and where I go. And the reason God wants to use you for growth is because you're an ambassador to people that no one else can reach. So how's God going to reach people that no one else is reaching? He's going to use people that no one else is around, and you're that person, so he's going to go, hey, I need to use you. And the last thing I want you to write down is this, remember this. Here's the thing, is remember any progress is progress. Today, the beautiful thing about growth is you can leave here, and you guys can read something together as a family. If you take a trip to HEB, turn off the radio and put the Bible app on, put a book on, put a podcast on. One of the things I tried to do, I remember in 2019, I told my wife, I'm going to write down something that I learned every single day. January 1, all the way, every single day. Here's what I learned, just one statement that I go, hey, that's going to stick with me. You can do that. It's free. It's free. There's podcasts out there for everyone. There's books out there for everyone. But you have to go, today, don't look at the future. Just stay right here and go, this is how I'm going to grow. Progress is any progress is progress for us. And one of the most beautiful things I think this morning, I use the word beautiful, is because if you're a non-believer and you're here and you go, man, I don't know about this whole Christianity thing, I got to tell you that God's a God of restoring. He's restored every single one of us here that believes in him in some way. And he continues to do that every day. He continues to do that every single day. So if you're someone that's trying to put their trust and hope in Jesus, understand that no one else can do that for you except him. Because what did he do? God made him sin that was not sin so that you could be free. Free for what? To get out of here. And Jesus came to give life and give life to the full. He didn't come to take something from you. It says he came to give you life. Give you life meaning get out of the kiddie pool and be a light so that other people can see what? See that I'm growing, and you have that same opportunity. You're that light in that office. You're that light in that cubicle. You're that light in the group of teachers or students. You're that light maybe even in your family, and you're a student. You're that light that God's going, you're my ambassador to this land. And so just like recovery, restoring leads to growth. Growth leads to sharing, which sharing leads to growth of other people, which in turn goes all the way around, and we continue to see God do what? What he promised, which is restoring. I'm here to restore, but I need your help. And I can't get your help if we're just staying in the same spot. So I'm telling you, it's not an easy thing to listen to. I get it. But at some point, that was me going, it's their fault. I'm upset. I'm coming home and I'm up angry and I'm blaming the world. And one small text from my brother with a video, one small video I watched over and over and over again in this recliner in my living room. My wife went to sleep and I sat there and watched it over and over and over again. And I realized there's a kiddie pool in life. And I'm the reason that I'm not in the deep end. I'm the reason that I'm trying to just stay there. It's on me. It's on me. The only way that I'm going to get out of there is if I go, here's what I want to do, and I got to take a step. And God's going, take a step, because that's what faith is. And I'm here for you. I'm with you. But while you're growing, remember that you're an ambassador for me, for people that don't know me. And I'm going to help people come to you, but come to me through you. And so you got to grow. I'm telling you, growth is what we have to take ownership with. Let me pray. God, thank you for this morning. God, I got to ask that you would just continue to just let this message maybe just work in our hearts and in our mind. God, I know sometimes it's tough to share something like that I'm so passionate about because it can come across in a negative way. But God, I pray that you would take this and allow it to, water someone's heart to go, you know what, we can grow here. God, I pray that what we see most importantly is the fact that you are someone who restores. That you didn't come to take anything from us, God, but that you came to give us life and that you're here to help us learn who you are, which you have a heart for restoring. You want to restore the world, and the people you want to use is us. So God, I pray that we'd be the people when we go into our lives tomorrow and today,
to remember why we're here, that we carry a message of a God that restores. And God, anyone that's starting out in the kiddie pool today, God, I pray that you would help them see the future of freedom that goes through growth. God, thank you for loving us. Thank you for never giving up on us. And thank you for always walking with us. Help us to grow this week. We love you, and it's your name I pray. Amen.
Once I was 7 years old, Mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. It was a big, big world. We thought we were bigger, pushing each other to the limits. We were learning quicker. By 11, smoking herb and drinking burning liquor. Never rich, so we were out to make that steady figure. Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told me, go get yourself a wife or you'll be lonely. Once I was 11 years old. I always had that dream, like my daddy before me. I started writing songs, I started writing stories. Something about that glory just always seemed to bore me. 'Cause only those I really love will ever really know me. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told. For the morning sun when life was lonely. Once I was 20 years old. I only see my goals, I don't believe in failure. 'Cause I know the smallest voices, they can make it major. I got my boys with me, at least the ones in favor. And if we don't meet before we leave, I hope I see you later. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told. I was writing about everything I saw before me. Once I was 20 years old. Soon we'll be 30 years old. Our songs have been sold. We traveled around the world and we're still roaming. Soon we'll be 30 years old. I'm still learning about life. My woman brought children for me, so I can sing them all my songs and I can tell them stories. Most of my boys are with me, some still I seek in glory. Some I had to leave behind, my brother, I'm so sorry. Soon I'll be 30 years old. My daddy got 61. Remember life and then your life becomes a better one. I made a man so happy, the letter that I wrote. I hope my children come and visit once a month. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Think the world is cold. We'll have a lot of children who can warm me. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Will I think the world is cold? Will I have a lot of children who can warm me? Soon I'll be 60 years old. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Soon I'll be 60 years old. 'Cause once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. Once I was 7 years old.
Man, when I was sitting there and listening, we have a young son and he's still learning how to swim. And so God was just speaking to my heart and mind about how he wants to learn how to swim and do this all on his own. And so we went to this pool last week and I was putting the floaties on his arms and he was tugging at those things and he let me do this. And so I took those floaties off, and just on sheer will alone, he was barely keeping his head above water. And by the end of the day, I mean, I was right there, and there were times where the panic set in for him, and I, would help him out of the water. But by the end of the day, he figured some of that out, and he would just cannonball into the water, and I was still right there with him. But just to see that joy of him pushing forward and taking, like when Mario was talking about, just taking that ownership, it made me think about how maybe that's how God thinks about us as his kids, about when we say we want to step forward and take ownership of this, and that breakthrough through those circumstances in our life, man, I'm sure brings so much joy to us when we feel that. But even for God to say, see, this is what freedom feels like. This is what happens when you step into what I have for you, these opportunities, and not make excuses and push through. I'm right here with you every step of the way. And so I hope that through you being here this morning or these previous weeks, that God's doing a work in your heart to take steps forward and take that ownership that and Mario's challenging us with. And I hope today impacted you and gives you something to work on and step out for this week. And so with that being said, we have next steps for you. We want to be there to help support you as well. And so we have this QR code we always bring up, but really this is a tool for us to say, hey, here are the things that we have. Here's what is available to you, and we want to help you with that. And so we're bringing up that QR code for you. There's next steps there. Take a look at those next steps and think through where you are in that and how we can help support you. We have baptisms coming up next Sunday. And that's always a great opportunity if you've made that decision to follow Jesus and you haven't taken that step to be baptized. Man, invite your family, invite your friends. Our church is going to be here cheering you on. Let us know. If you have questions, we'll be in touch with you. Also there in next steps, we always make space during service for you to give. And man, when you give, things happen. Last Sunday, y'all responded. We put it out there to say, hey, use your influence and generosity to make a change. And man, y'all scholarshiped some kids to go to camp that otherwise couldn't. And they're going to be impacted at camp spiritually. So man, when you give, things happen. Thank you for your generosity. You could also give in the boxes on the way out or later in the week if you need to. Also, finally, we have a blood drive coming up. The 10th annual Richard Myers Blood Drive is coming up. And so you can find information about that. Spots are limited, but get registered for that and help save a life by donating blood. Well, hey, be back next week. Don't miss it, because we're going to press forward and we're going to get the most out of this week and next week with what God has for you through this series. Thanks so much for being here. Y'all have a great Sunday. Thanks for being with us.
Closed us out in person. I wanted to close out specifically online. I love everything that John said about the message. I know for me, it was a huge, eye-opening thing about how uncomfortable Mario looked in that kiddie pool. It was kind of funny, but I just think that's exactly what happens, is you outgrow that, and it gets really uncomfortable, which just means it's time to take your next step.
Totally.
So I think this is another time we're going to bring up that next steps code, and we want to hear what your next step is.
What do you need? How can we help support you?
How can we help you? And I think sometimes whenever you are watching from home, it's really easy to feel like you're not
really there, really a part of it.
We really want you to connect with us and engage, and let us know what your next step is right there on that next step.
Yep, we'll be in touch with you. We'll help you take that next step.
That's right.
Man, that's what we're here for. We want to help you grow, make forward progress as a follower of Jesus.
And also let us know how we can pray for you.
Yeah, and we pray for you. When we get prayer requests,
right.
Man, we look forward to that. We get that opportunity to say, hey, God, we are lifting you up in prayer. We're praying for you, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to do that.
And you know what? Next week, Mario will be back with another message from Own It, and we will see you then.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.